Welcome to Business Talk Sister Gawk. I'm Becca, and today's podcast episode topic is how to meet transitional care needs through real estate. And this is actually part 2 in an episode series. So go back and listen to the first one if you are just joining us. And with me today, I have Tom Schotec.
Yep, you got her.
Oh,
Yeah, perfect.
I worked on it.
Yeah.
From Standard Homes, and we're just picking up our conversation. Tom, you've been in the real estate industry for over 20 years,
Yep.
helping people transition into a new place for people who are getting older, and purchasing their whole house and all their property and everything.
Yes, correct. Yep.
So lots of things that you do, but we were kind of talking about how this, first of all, is, and I really want to bring this up because I feel like sometimes podcasts out there are like how to get rich quick and like all this kind of stuff, but like, no, this is not one of those things. This is you do this because you truly care about people.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you don't truly care about people, then you shouldn't be doing this type of work.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I've been hearing from you in how you've been talking about your business and just how much you care about people. And I think that that's important for a lot of entrepreneurs too, who are listening, that maybe this is like a type of business they want to do or whatever, because I think that a lot of people feel that there are not a lot of businesses out there that are human-centered.
Yes.
In a lot of ways. And so I'm really excited to talk more about this. So like you were saying in our previous episode, there's a really big need right now in just the renovations of the homes that you're purchasing.
Yes, correct.
And you had said that you were building up inventory, but you hadn't started actually renovating. So tell me why you did that specifically.
Well, so in 2024 here, coming out of COVID, and, since 2020, it's been a global crisis of finding people that want to work. Mm-hmm. And people that care about the work, and the people that do a good job are in such a demand, right? So we have to, obviously buy the home with all the deferred maintenance. We buy them as is, no repairs needed. And then with that, again, we have to fix up the house, and we want to do a good job. And that's where we get paid, is when we sell the home. We front 100% of the money, and even the rehab. And we started to run into a quality control, I guess you'd want to call it, where the work was getting done, but it just wasn't to our expectations. So after a home and a half, basically, we stopped it altogether. Brought it to a standstill, because it was, if you want to get into this business, you still got to sell the product that you're buying. Mm-hmm. And you still want to have a good product, so you still get references. You still get realtors that want to show your product. People just want to buy your homes. Mm-hmm. And we do a good job. I mean, our life expectancy is probably under 2 weeks of every home on the market.
Okay. But
we ran into quality control. And so I shut it all down, the construction. But people still need our services, so we're still buying the homes. We're still moving forward, building inventory, which luckily we have the capital to do it. Mm-hmm. But for people who are getting into this, you're not going to have the capital. Mm-hmm. You don't understand how much money it actually takes to start to finish this. And so with that, we actually started running ads across the country for employment nationwide, and then to buy a company. We want to buy a construction company that does a good job, has good employees, strong management, ethical, and just super dialed in on the quality. And with that, you still got to make it work with the volume, so you need quality and speed. Mm-hmm. And integrity. And so it's been almost 6 months where now we picked a company. We met several times, and it's a big transition for both sides, because we're actually moving their families up. This isn't where people come and just going to come work from 8 to 5. I mean, these are major life transitions for both sides. It's our whole company pretty much on the line. It's their future on the line. And so after meeting 3 times, then we decided, okay, let's just do projects together for right now. Mm-hmm. So just they came up, and wanted to make sure that we were, number one, honest. Number two, that we pay our bills on. We buy good product. We're not a fly-by-night company that, they can depend on my company to support them for the next 20 years. And so far it's been just flawless. We got the product. They're doing a phenomenal job. And now the next step is their families are coming up. And meaning their children and their wives, and they want to make sure that northern Minnesota, it's still not a done deal. They want to make sure that northern Minnesota is where they want to be, that they're comfortable. And I think it's going to we'll do a full execution in the next 2 weeks and merge the companies. And I think it's going to be, and I know that you talked about, if you're going to tell somebody like what's important, if they want to get in this business, like you said, caring for the people, your customers, is number one. That's nothing above and beyond that. And because they need the help. And number two, you still got to survive, and you still got to pay your bills. And if you don't have control under quality and cost, you'll never make it through the first one. And that's the two important things: is number one, customer service; number two, understanding what you're getting yourself into. Like the numbers and quality and everything with it. So we should be now, with the company that's up here, we should be able to do a full remodel every 15 to 18 days, meaning interior, exterior.
Wow.
And then if we're just doing what we call surface remodel is kind of carpet, paint, countertops, just surface remodel, where you still have good windows, you still have good siding.
Right.
So
Your
we're
bones
doing.
are good.
Yeah. No, the bones are good, right? The electrical's good. You don't. Plumbing's there. Everything's in place. So like we're doing one in Virginia right now where we're taking down an old privacy fence, laying sod. We're painting the garage. We're painting the home. The whole inside is just surface remodel. So it's removing the carpet, painting, countertops, stuff like that. 4 days. We'll have a house back on the market.
Wow.
And so those are the details. And again, when you do that, you got to make sure you're in a market where people want to live, because you're tying up a lot of money. You're tying up your complete staff, not only just the guys in the field, but you got people in the office ordering stuff. I mean, you're putting a lot into it. And, but yeah, so we're pretty excited for both sides. I think that this is our own life transition, and to bring us into, because the faster you get the homes done, the more capital you get back in.
Right.
That means that's more people that you can service, because you can buy more homes and more people get to enjoy what we have to offer. So.
Yeah, it seems like you have a high demand
Yeah.
right now, for sure.
Yeah, the phone never stops ringing. And I think it's probably going to change the housing market. That this platform will alter the housing market in the country. And it's going to change how people do business and the real estate market in the next 5 years. And the market that's growing, like I said, I think it's almost 25 million people in 2024 to 2025 that are coming into this market, and they all need the service. So.
Yeah, and what would you say when you first started out? Like, if you were to look back and tell yourself, hey, this is what I really learned, what are some things that you wish you would have known at the beginning?
Obviously, I wish I would have known the whole package of what the services that they needed.
Yeah.
Because, there's a lot of things that we didn't offer at that time. And the reason we offer it now, because we just seen the burden.
Okay.
We offered a partial package. And when you offer a partial package, a meaning of the services, these people, the reason they're calling you is because they need help. Well, they still are stuck with the other half of the grief, and they still got to work through it. And so I wish, but you don't know what you don't know because no one's ever done it. But we paid attention, learned, and now we offer the full package. And then I wish I would have had a better grip on knowing the construction cost. There's a lot to it. It's running back and forth to a hardware store 300 times and all that stuff. And now we use all computer programs. It's all going in the data. It's all ordered. It's all delivered at one shot. It just, we brought where we're literally 90 days probably realistically under construction. We got it down to 3 weeks.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you too, what kind of tools have you found, like digital tools or spreadsheets or whatever, have been helpful for you that you're like, this is totally something I would recommend?
So we actually have our own. And so we created pie charts. And so whatever you use, like my daughter Alex, she runs the office and she uses Pipedrive.
Okay.
And that's super effective for her. And all I can tell you is that no matter what happens, do not keep any communication. Whatever, there's a lot of different platforms. You can go on any social media site. You can go on the internet, for construction tools, from documentation, not to protect yourself. What I'm saying is, like what we do now is like, there's no more texting for, say, like a guy in the field to me saying, we need 2x4s, just example, whatever. Everything is sent into where everybody in your company reads it. So like when I get a text message, everybody sees it. And, or if I go to a job site and say, hey, listen, very common, you order a whole package for a house. They forgot 2 cabinets for the kitchen, just an example. Or one smashed just because it got damaged. And the whole company. And so I would say whatever your program is, make sure it's photo. It can accept photos. So when you're at the address, your photos automatically load into that program so everyone can see it. And then the chain of communication, there's nothing more important. And that's just not even just for the construction part, but that's also like when we get to the job site or the residence and we're going to move them. And we have, there's a lot of steps in that. And you don't want one person like, oh, I forgot to tell them, or, you got to have a checklist.
Okay.
Follow it and have open communication between everybody in the company so everybody knows what's going on. I think that's communication is the most important thing.
Okay. And what is Pipedrive? I've never heard of that before.
So Pipedrive is, it's just a technology package you can buy, and it's scheduling, and so you can. It's like, I don't know if I'd call it a Google Calendar, but it's more advanced. So everyone can go in it, everyone can look at it. This is where Alex is, this is what Tom's doing, this is what Lori's doing, whatever it might be. This is what the address, and it sends you reminders. You put all the data, you can upload photos. And so every bit of communication goes into that, and it just all day long just sends out like, did your task, that's what we call it, was your task completed? And that could be as far as like calling back your customer at address 123. You were supposed to have a 10 o'clock conference call. It basically runs your entire business. And then, if somebody calls in and says, we want to take a look at your services, make sure, to see if they work for us, you got to call them, next Tuesday, 9:30 in the morning, Chisholm, Minnesota. It really runs the company, and it does a good job. It takes a little bit. I don't get into that, but everyone else does. So, but it's very vital to have that.
Okay.
If you're going to grow at any kind of scale, it just doesn't work without it. In fact, probably once a week, we're talking about how to get a better program, even more advanced. And then we have our own pie charts. So the guys that we're merging with into construction, they were actually software designers.
Okay.
And so we're creating our own program so everyone in the company can look at. And so when we go to a job site, we know how much we spent in labor that day. We know what we spent in materials that day. We have projected finish dates to line up the cleaning services. It's a whole new system itself. So if you're going to go at scale and get into this, have digital programs to whatever you're compatible to using for the job site, and have one for the office to make sure that you never forget to call a customer, you never forget an appointment, you get them everything they need. Because you got to remember, you're number one, you're getting a phone call in. That's where it all starts. Someone calling for your service. Then you got to get there, and then you got to design a package that fits their needs, and then you got to move them. You got to relocate them. You got to make sure that all their stuff gets to their children, no matter where their kids are. I've actually mailed photos to Germany because the kids are military, so we mailed them to a military base. So there's a lot of moving parts to go through the whole process from start to finish on these houses.
Yeah. And so what type of partners in your network do you have that you would recommend somebody having set up? Like you had mentioned maybe like a realtor or an appraiser.
Yep.
Is there anybody else that you think is good to have in your back pocket?
Yeah. So the reason you have an appraiser and a realtor up front is that you don't get to pick and choose where the house is. People call you, and wherever it is, and you just got to understand what you're buying, the market value. And that's where you can call a realtor or an appraiser and say, this is where I'm at, these are the conditions, what's the market value. So that's where it all starts. And then in the state of Minnesota, you got to have a licensed plumber or a licensed electrician, to come in and work on the house. We use 4 of them throughout northern Minnesota. It depends on who's available. But I would say that's and there's a shortage of them, a big shortage. So you got to sit down with someone and say, this is what I'm doing. Will you just, do our projects in this region, and then if we give you a week's notice, can you sneak someone over there to either do the connections or run the lines? So we work with 4 people. We've had long-term relationships with them. It works great. And so that would probably be the most critical, I would think, because when you buy these homes, you got a full crew standing there. You can't wait 2 weeks for someone to come run 2 water lines. It has to be scheduled. They have to be flexible. They have to understand that, okay, these guys are over here, it's costing them $1,000 an hour.
Yeah.
Literally.
To stand there and wait.
Yeah. And then so you kind of base it off the house, the remodel too, because, we do the kitchens, we do the sheetrock repair, we do whatever it might be, anything along that line. And so then if the plumber can't get there till the next day, then you immediately, that's why you have all the materials there. You can immediately jump outside and maybe start doing the siding or something else. And then you can finish whatever you got to finish.
So it's a lot of redirection of your time.
Yes.
Based on managing other people's time.
Yeah, exactly. But and I would say, and then after that, you really want to work with a local realtor. Someone that really knows the market, because, like I said, it all comes down to fronting 100% of the money, and you still got to get the money back to move forward to provide the service. And so you want to sell the home. You want to make sure there's good photos, there's good marketing. You want to get the people through the door. You want to have a realtor that other realtors trust, knowing like, hey, he lists good properties, they do a good job. So it's just like anything else. Your whole circle of people, if there's one missing, man, you're just always bouncing off the curb. And focus on everyone around you. And you go back to one of the things I wish I would have had the team 10 years ago of what we have today, but we didn't. But we focused on it, and it's going every day. It's better and better and faster, and it's better service. It's all about the service to the customer.
Yeah, no, this is super fantastic information. So thank you. How can people find you?
Well, the best way is, we got 3 ways. We got an 800 number, so you can call that. That's 833-403-2020. You can call or text at 218-208-3883. Otherwise, our website, a lot of people go to that. That's standardhomesllc.com.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that information. And we're going to transition to the gawk portion of this episode.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you a story this time.
Oh, sounds good.
So I have been in the process of working on a building project as well. So
Yep.
I know a little bit about the timing. And one of the things, learning experience for me, as you're talking about, like, you know, you need a primary contractor or whatever, and you're working with all these people, I wanted to learn how to do all of these things myself, which was
How's that going?
exactly, you
Yeah.
did the smile on your face
Yeah.
right now. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started this project, this building, which if you've been wondering about that, there is a building series that I talked through quite a bit of some of the things, and I'm sure I'll do more because I'm learning all the time. And the things with the building, first of all, I decided, okay, I'm going to try to demo the inside, and then from there we'll start working on insulation and whatever else. Well, for those of you who follow my Instagram, you will know that the roof has been quite an experience.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting connected with a roofer who's been very, very kind to me and teaching me how to understand all about rubber roofing. And but you know, that whole backlog of things, like, okay, well, you can't do a spray foam insulation if there's a wet spot in your roof because it won't stick, and then this will happen, and then this, and then
Yeah,
you can't put
exactly.
the sheetrock on the ceiling because it'll just drip and ruin your sheetrock, and like whatever. So it's been like so many things of, oh, this has to happen before this, before this, before this, and if you don't inherently know those things, you're starting to tell people to do stuff that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's been super, super helpful, just like learning as I go and talking to professionals and saying, this is what I would like you to do. And then they come back and tell me, no, you're not ready for that.
Yeah.
Because that's been like such a huge learning curve for sure. And I feel like I'm getting a lot better handle on it, like that I'll know how to do it again. But yeah, just even like I wanted to redo the floors, and I had a guy come and look at them, and then he said, no, you need to do sheetrock first, because if you scratch up your floors, you're just going to redo your floors twice.
Yeah, exactly. And you're
Yeah.
walking on them in the construction. No,
Yep.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been my experience. So if you are listening to this and you're like, I really want to tackle this kind of project, just know that there are so many unforeseen things you never thought you would have to do.
Yeah, no, and it all starts in kind of one spot, like you're saying, with the roof, and, you know, get everything's nice and dry and sealed up, and then kind of start working your way down. And the floors are usually the last thing when you're walking out the door. You know, you just do the floors and then you're done, because that's the most heavily trafficked area. Yeah. And they say the third home. After your third one, you kind of know the process. So that's the rule of thumb. So
Yeah, okay. I'll have to keep that in mind.
so you're gonna have to do one more, and then the third one you'll be pretty good at it. So yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining me today.
No, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed listening to this episode, you should give it a review on wherever you are listening, and I will see you next time.